Uh, Thank you, Claire, for coming today.
Sure.
We'll be talking today about how it is hard or easy to be an actress in New York City. And Claire was very kind to agree to share with us how a typical week for an actress can look like. She has graduated like a year ago, and so she can tell us how the theory that she learned at university meets the reality that she faces every day. All right, and I'm sure that you were wondering at university how your life would look like in a couple of years after graduation. Can you share with us, for example, what did you think your life will look like?
Yeah. So I went to school during, like COVID. That was when I graduated. We were still kind of like in quarantine at the time that I finished. So I kind of was at a place where I wasn't really imagining what anything would look like because I just genuinely could not make any assumptions about anything.
Okay.
Prior to COVID, I thought when I graduated, I definitely thought it was much easier to find work than it ended up being. So I don't know if that answers the question.
When you actually started working, can you tell us how, what actually came true, what you imagined, and what was completely different and unexpected for you?
Okay, yeah, sure. So when I graduated, my first goals, my first steps were to get representation.
By representation, I mean to get an agent, right?
Yes.
How was looking for an agent? Is it a hard thing, or you?
I was in a program that focused a lot on helping people find representation and
Okay.
kind of like walking you through the steps of how to do it, teaching you like how to audition for reps, how to reach out to them, how to send the materials, what materials to send, all that stuff.
And you do it at the end of your university, right?
You don't have to. That's just how I did it because I thought that made the most sense logistically to have all of that training and then go fresh into doing
okay.
it.
Okay.
So I was feeling pretty good at the time that I left, and I also had a teacher who had told me that once I graduated from school to let him know, and then he would refer me to one of his friends who's an agent.
Okay.
So knowing that I was going to have that strong recommendation made me feel more confident. She was actually the first person I reached out to, and she was interested. So I got an agent right off the gate.
So you got an agent, you just reached out to her, you had a recommendation, so it was a pretty smooth process, right?
Yeah, I mean, it took about a month just because I still had to send in audition tapes. I did 2 monologues, and I think I did a 32-bar cut of a song.
Okay. So once you submitted those videos, your agent looked at them, and then she gave you an offer, said,
Yeah, we set up a meeting, had a little interview. It didn't take too long. It was only 10 or 15 minutes or so. I asked my questions, she asked hers. And then a couple days later, she said, we'd like to bring you on.
Is she part of a bigger agency, or it's like a...
She owns her own company. It's based in New Jersey.
And in return for her services, you promise your 10% of your revenues, right?
So any work that I book, I freelance with her, so it's not under a contract or anything, but any work that I book, checks get sent to her office first, and then she takes her cut, and then the rest comes back to me.
Oh, okay. Okay, and after you landed your agent, how long did it take to get your first job or role?
So
I know it was a pandemic, so it was kind of harder, right?
This was around the tail end of last year, because I actually graduated in. I had to do a summer class, so
You failed something.
No, I graduated early actually.
So you...
But just to fit it in, I had to finish one summer class.
So sorry for assuming.
It's okay. So that was when I did my 6-week program. And that finished in July. So then I spent a month with my acting coach, working on my monologues and everything. And then I was signed in August.
Did you get anything big, or it was a small thing? What kind of, can you contrast for our followers your biggest role and your smallest role so that they can see the range of what kind of jobs do you get within your first year after graduation?
So things were still fairly slow at the time that I was looking, and also I wasn't looking that hard too because I was also, I had to get a job to support myself. So I was doing, I was working for a digital healthcare startup company as well. So
additional healthcare, it's not an actress job, right? It's just like a job to sustain
it was like
yourself.
a remote job, but
Okay.
I did do that like every day. So
So an actress job can't provide you enough money within your first year.
within your first year, it's very unlikely.
Very unlikely, right?
It's very unlikely because the jobs that pay well, you can't just, anybody can just walk in and go for them. You know what I mean? Like it's usually like an agent will have to send you something, and then you get the chance to audition for it. Also, it's probably worth noting that pretty much everything is done on tape these days. Like there's not really so much a room that you go into and get to meet like the casting director
even
or anything.
actress job became remote these days, right?
And
damn.
They probably will always be, because it's just a lot cheaper for people to send in their own tapes than to have to rent a space and bring everybody in. And you can get through tapes a lot quicker than having people brought in. So I've talked to a lot of people in the industry, and they all say that they much prefer it this way, and it'll probably always be this way from now on.
Wow.
So I think there's kind of a downfall in that, because you don't really get a chance
to see the actors or to ask additional questions, like or say, hey, can you do it another way? Like, you know, you're doing your role, and say, oh, can you like do it from another perspective? Like there is no communication. Oh, that sucks, right?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. And I do think that one of the biggest factors in getting a job is not even actually if you have the look or if you have talent or anything. It's just whether people like you, if people want to work with you. And so like the way that I like go through jobs is either I get something from my agent, which full disclosure is not terribly often. So most of the time it's things that I have to look for myself. There are different services online like Backstage or casting networks or Actors Access. And you log up for them, and you can put in like all of your demographics, I guess, like I'm a female, I'm this age range, and then I get roles sent to like my email, and then if I think like, oh, this is something I'd like to go out for, then I can submit to it.
Okay. So like within last year, you had this like healthcare startup job where you had to like, you know, find some money to sustain. And what was your biggest role within last year? Like what was like just amazing?
I mean, I haven't really had anything that's been amazing.
Okay. Something. Like.
But I would say the biggest role I did was for a show that's being pitched to HBO.
Okay, HBO is big.
Yeah, so it's it wasn't like the actual work, but it's just like a proof of concept.
What is a proof of concept?
So it's just like saying like, this is the show that we want to make. This is kind of like the vibe. This is kind of like the direction we would like want to take it in. You know, it's a pitch.
And what role did you play in this kind of show?
So it wasn't even really anything that big. It's a show that's going to be about Joe Namath, if you know him.
No, I don't know. Who is
quarterback for the Jets.
Okay.
Like huge celebrity in New York, and I want to say the 70s. Yeah, I think it was the 60s or 70s. I don't remember when. But he was like kind of I think one of the first athletes to really kind of like be like very like, you know what I mean? Like to have that kind of like celebrity like personality.
Okay.
So that's what it's about. And what the project is like I was playing an actress that I guess this quarterback had met, you know, the night before, and this is like the next morning, and it's like me waking up and like kind of like sneaking out, really.
Why would you sneak out? Is he not allowed to bring girls, or like is he not allowed?
No, nothing like that. Just I think like when you're with somebody who's like of this huge like status, you know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna wake him up. You know
you woke up in the show, took your
so
stuff.
I woke up and I went and I got dressed, and then I go out, and then the whole like point is that I put on like this mink coat, and he wakes up and he sees it, but he's the type of guy that wears a mink coat. Like he's that kind of personality. So he's like, hey baby, that one's mine. And it turns out that I like put on the wrong one. So then I just like grabbed mine and like
was it on purpose, or was it just improvisation? Like did you take it?
No, like I was pretending that I thought it was mine, but like, you know, of course, as the actor I know it's not, but the character doesn't, if that makes sense.
Wow, that sounds fun.
So like it was fun. It was at like this gorgeous like penthouse apartment. So it was fun getting to kind of like be pampered and have makeup come in and get me set up and everything like that.
Did you have like a mic on top of you that would record your voice, like a lot of cameras there?
I mean, just a single camera. It was pretty simple because it's not like the actual show. It's just trying to show like this is what we're trying to
what it will look like. It's like a trailer to the show.
Yeah.
If they will select it and sponsor it, right? Oh.
Yeah. So
are you allowed to say the name of the show, or it's like a secret?
I think I probably shouldn't.
Okay. Well,
because they used like a code name for it. So yeah.
Okay. So we'll skip it.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll skip it. Oh.
So that's like the biggest thing that I've done. A lot of the other stuff I've done has been background acting, which are on bigger sets. Like I just worked for the Mr. and Mrs. Smith show that's going to be done. Like they're doing a reboot of the movie, and they're going to turn it into a TV show.
Okay.
I've been like on bigger productions, just in a smaller role. I mean, a non-speaking background role.
I see. So you're just like at the background, just walking by, sitting, reading, like doing some kind of background for, right?
Which like it's still acting, but like you're not saying anything. So like that's, I would say the majority of my acting work has been that. But I do like book that like pretty often, like at least once a week I'm doing. At
least once a week. That's pretty often, okay. And all right. So I got the understanding of your like downs and ups during the year of your career. Can you like describe to our followers how would your typical week look like?
I mean, there's like every week is different. Like there's not one that I would say like this is a pretty standard week. But
I mean, this is already something. So there is no standard week being for an actress, right?
No, there isn't. Like it's very much like, especially when you're first starting, it's a lot of gig work.
What do you mean by gig work?
Like doing like one job, and then you like have to go scrambling for your next job.
Okay.
Yeah. So like there's a lot of inconsistency and like insecurity. It's very hard to like consistently book.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, I read an estimate that there are 50,000 actors in New York City.
Waiting for a job, or just in general, total 50,000 actors?
Like I think we'll call them aspiring actors.
Okay. Aspiring actors.
Yeah, and so there's not a lot of positions to go around for everyone, of course. And then you think about all the people who were already established, who are in like the equity or like SAG unions. And then COVID comes and they're all out of jobs too. So now that we're like getting back into like kind of a state of normalcy and we're like starting to build up productions and theater and everything again, all of those people who already were working successful actors, like they're in the mix with all of us people just starting out too.
Okay.
So I think that also provides some challenges. But I think that I kind of have an advantage because I do have the training and I have a lot of the know-how, which is what I think most people miss. And I also try and provide opportunities for myself to like stay with things. So, I stay in touch with my teachers from school, even if it's just like on social media or like through email or whatever. I also work for a company that has like these Zoom sessions with casting directors or agents or managers, and then people like pay to be in these classrooms, and I just run the Zoom room. So it's super easy for me, but I get to see everything and kind of be on the other side of the room a little bit. So I get to like actually kind of build the relationship with, your casting director, whoever, which is a plus. And also to see like what things are working and what things don't. And then I do like always look for auditions. I look every single day.
How do you look for auditions? I thought your agent is looking for your auditions.
Yeah, so she is, and if there's something that she sees that she thinks would be a good fit for me, she'll send it through to me.
Do you look on top of her into?
Yeah, you have to, because it's just an infrequent amount. I mean, my agent has, I think the last time I looked at her roster, she had almost 200 other clients.
Oh.
So
by clients, you mean actresses like you?
Yeah. So like it's impossible for her to, like just be worried about me. You know what I mean? So you have to look for things on your own. So I look through the sites that I mentioned earlier, and I get like the email notifications. So like if I see something, I can immediately be like, oh, that looks cool,
Interesting.
and then
Okay.
go for it.
So my last question for you: what would you say to aspiring actresses, actors that are going to join this career path or who are looking to switch to this? What would you tell them?
Okay. I feel like I should
Yeah,
look into that.
yeah.
Yeah. So I would basically say that it is a very, very difficult industry to break into, and anyone who ever tells you different is straight up lying to you. It will never be easy. But that being said, it's not impossible. Like there's definitely a lot of resources out there. There's a lot of things you can do. So you just have to be proactive. More than anything, you have to be persistent. And I think if you don't put pressure on yourself to, be on, the hottest TV show within like 6 months after you graduate, which is what I did, you'll feel better about yourself. And just like knowing that it takes time, and it takes time for everybody to get wherever they end up. That would be my advice. Just like keep on trying.
Keep on trying, guys. Never give up. Thank you, Clara. It was very helpful for me to learn a lot about an actor's career, and I'm sure that for our 3 followers, it was also very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.